weight. The bar's got that swing. Glasses clink, hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. The sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Salute and happy weekend. Happy Friday. Welcome everybody. Would love to know what you're sipping on, because today is the day I tell you what I'll be sipping on. Let us greet everyone appropriately to kick off this weekend. Remember, I always say liquid lunch on Friday is actually the start of the weekend, because the second half of the day you're just watching the clock anyway. The weekend has already started for most of you. So let's go ahead and say hi to everybody who's here in the chat, starting with Big Al. Big Al Presents, I love the fact that Big Al, he reads the title, he reads the description, so he knows what's coming up, at least as much as I'm, willing to let everybody know about. He says, sometimes you just need to revisit some of the old favorites. That's exactly right, my friend. Enjoy the show and the weekend, Liquid Lunchers. Have a great show, my friend. Thank you so much, my friend. Somebody shared the membership emojis, and the brown mumbler came up, and I started thinking, I haven't had a brown mumbler in a while. I need to have a brown mumbler. But that also means I'm going to revisit the history for those that are newer here who don't even know what a brown mumbler is. There are some. I noticed that in the chat when I saw it in the emoji. Geek Flag with Nate Knows says, like, share, subscribe, comment, and become a member. And if you are going to give a super chat of $5 or more, why not gift a membership instead and make our family grow? And he drops the fedora and the mumbler, which is exactly, he doesn't just say this. He leads by example. That's a true leader. He gifted a membership to Dr. Michael Jones. Looking forward to checking out your contact, Dr. Michael Jones. I did see, it looks like you did a review on the most recent Predator film. I'll have to check that out as soon as I get an opportunity. Maybe everybody get over to Dr. Michael Jones's channel and give him a follow and let him know that you stopped by because he's now a member of the group. Merpo, says Mark Melnikoff. Yes, it's lunchtime. Waiting for the High Council to release the details of the secret files of the Petach. Like, share, subscribe, and become a member. Yes, just keep them away from the desk of a certain blonde Federation bureaucrat who only knows how to lose things and ignore things and never get around to things. Just saying. But then again, there are those that are still waiting on all of the evidence from a certain attempt on a certain Federation president during the Kittimer Accords. So you might be waiting a good long time. Just saying. That's how these things work. The love of my life has come in to say that she loves me too. I love you so much, my dear. She says like, share, subscribe, become a member, gift a membership, leave a comment, do all the clicky things. That would encourage me on this wonderful start of the weekend. She points out that we have a membership drive going right now. If you're not a member, you can become a member for as little as $2 a month. It means so much to supporting this channel and allowing me to continue doing this. Certainly appreciate that. And gifted memberships, like Nate just did, can help me reach a goal of 100 members by the end of the year. And 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Please, guys, please. That one's the easy one. And I'm not seeing any traction on it. The subscribing costs $0. It costs you nothing. But I need you to do a little thing. And that's share out my channel and tell people to subscribe to me. Tell them, go check this guy out. You are my marketing department. Without you, I get no traction at all. And since I started this goal of 2,000 members or 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I have not gained anything. I've gone up and down, up and down. I have gained nothing. I need your help, everybody. I really, really do. That subscriber number is key. It doesn't bring in any direct revenues, but it grows the eyes that are on the channel. Please help me out. Let's see. Nate says, I'm at work, but I can't do any work because we have no power and we're sitting around waiting. I hate that. When you have work to do and can't do it because of technological failures, it is a waste of time. Now, from the company standpoint, it's also a waste of money, but that's incredibly aggravating. And you're just thinking, I could be doing something else right now, anything else. Jonathan Conroy says, hail all, smash the like button and enjoy the show. Yes, please do that. I would super appreciate that. Coffee with heavy cream is my morning jam after my morning dose of butter. There you go. It's like that line from Down Periscope. Which do you think is more likely on a cold winter's morning? You think you're going to have a cup of coffee or a steaming cup of pig fat? Well, it depends on how cold it is. I could go either way. Yes, Curtis Selby, it is lunchtime. Welcome. Algorithms has caught up to Troy's plan to cheat the ads and allow the audience to experience the full intro. all this week I've gotten 3 ads, so the countdown is around 2 minutes 48 seconds when it comes in. Well, yeah, and I just keep stretching and stretching that intro. I now understand why so many channels have such long intros, but then you get in the habit of, okay, it's noon. Nothing's really going to get going until like 12:10, so there's no big hurry. It's hard. It's hard to figure out. It really, really is. Unless I tap the stream in my playlist, which bypasses the commercials. Yeah, that'll do that too. Sure. Or there are things you can do in your browser that serve a similar function. Just saying, that I can't talk about, but I think you know what I mean, right? Lester Skeptic Tank Obsession celebrates 16 months of membership. Thank you so much, my friend. It's been almost a year and a half already. My gosh. Oh, I have one of these. One of many reasons to be a member. A movie membership cheaper than Regal. Yes, that's right. He's alluding to what Netter pointed out, that every Monday is Members Night at the Movies, an exclusive stream for the members where we watch a movie of your choice, whether it's an old classic or something that's really, really recent that you might not maybe have access to on your streaming service, but, you'd still like to see. The members select what movie we'll be watching most weeks. And so for as little as $2 a month, on an average, that works out to 50 cents a week. And if that's the price of a movie, that's pretty good. Vote on the movie of choice and don't have to leave home. What more can you ask for? Exactly right. And no one's going to shh you, And if you don't like the conversation that's going on during the movie, you can always just turn down the volume. Can't do that in public. And hail to you, Lynn. Thank you so much. Kablondy is likely a Tal Shiar operative with that quantum singularity in her office. Well, it's either that or it's incompetence. Either way, she shouldn't be in her job. She really shouldn't. Let's see here. I'm sipping on a creamy vanilla holiday Coke. No sugar. Now having some decaf 7-Up. Is that creamy vanilla holiday Coke? If it's a holiday Coke, is it a limited edition type thing? Kind of curious about that. That sounds yummy. That sounds really yummy. I need to upgrade from VHS to DVD on Down Periscope and maybe get a copy of Up Periscope as well. Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah, and I'll bet you could find a DVD copy for very little money. Very little money. Even on Amazon. Heck, most of the time you could do really well with previously viewed copies. You can get those for like $2-3. It's like almost like the price of a membership on my channel. Just saying. I might be doing that on this computer, but my Kindle doesn't have it. Gotcha. Shh. Yes, that's the problem. There's nothing you can do about mobile devices, but on a browser, you can. And I do. Is it a quantum singularity or a personal cloaking device? Doesn't matter. Makes things disappear. That's the problem. There's Wilkie's Movies and Music reminding me, but too late, I've already done it, that Friday is, of course, his stream right after this one. I will be chauffeuring you over. If you would just stay to the end of the credits, we'll go over to Wilkie's Movies and Music right after this stream, because that is the Friday tradition around here, because # Together We Grow, right? And while you're there, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Yes, and the whole town is out of the no sugar. It's similar to the cream soda Dr. Pepper. Gotcha. Brother Jay! Welcome. Good to see you. Happy Friday. I probably couldn't find it, but I have other movies and shows I want more. That's fair, too. That's fair. You gotta prioritize. Sorry I wasn't on Netter's stream last night. Dozed off. Long and busy day. It's perfectly fine. You can always catch the, catch up. We were just kind of shooting the breeze with the chat and everyone who was here. Aged Boomer, my co-pilot for tonight. We will be on Last Call tonight. We will be talking about the Kelvin timeline. And doing a post-mortem, and I mean that because it absolutely is over. The JJ prize is being retired. It's done. And you could effectively erase it from canon. Wait, I know she is a changeling and is smuggling the material out inside herself as part of the Dominion's plan to subjugate the Alpha Quadrant. Every empire, every federation, if you will, has its deep state. That's always been true. And anyone who says otherwise is trying to sell you something. Captain Pike is my favorite Star Trek captain. Not. Well, I mean, if we're talking about Jeffrey Hunter, is that his name, Jeffrey Hunter? It's maybe, we never got to see enough of him. We only got the one pilot episode. But, yeah. The Jar Jar line has been retired. Happy, joy. Yeah, exactly right. It's funny because I did a super thanks on a video that I saw by Stan Solo yesterday. Of all things, he was doing the lore of the Wicked Witch of the West. And he's talking about the original book. He's talking about the MGM film. And then Wicked. Both the book and the musical. He's also pointing out differences between the book and the musical. And he says something about how, I think it was in the play or in the movie or whatever, Elphaba has natural magic abilities that she's just born with, which isn't true of her in the book. In fact, if anything, she's not very good with magic. And she has to work at it. He says, so unlike Rey, Palpatine, Skywalker, Binks, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, that deserves a super thanks right there. And I commented, that line alone deserved a super thanks. I play Captain Pike's nephew in an RPG. Ensign Pike serves under Captain Kirk, and his catchphrase is, Captain Pike wouldn't put up with this crap. Yeah. It's the darn galacticists. They are requesting the genetics of the frogs. And it's weird because they think that's going to work out for them. But I think it's going to blow up in their faces just like the shutdown did. The Dominion is too smart to use her. Even a Packlet is smarter than she is. Well, we also have Packlets in charge of Section 13 or whatever it is. Is that what it is, Section 13? So I'd like to see them fired as well. But anyway. This is one of those lines that, although it was said, the context is so important. And if you really look into what he meant when he was saying that, you realize it was true. 100%. Now, can we eliminate the Kurtzman line? I found out how he screwed up Transformers Prime last weekend. I've done some streams where I've talked about Kurtzman, and if he is not recontracted, he takes his Kurtzman Trek with him, and he can't do anything with it. All he's left is an empty sack. And they must, by default, decanonize it, because they can't make reference to it going forward. Otherwise, they'd have to pay him some royalty checks, and it would be outlined in some sort of a licensing fee. They're not going to do that. They would sooner scrap all of that. That's if they don't recontract with him under the new management. Women can't have to work for anything. Yes, exactly. They've got to be the bestest ever. There's Klingons off the starboard bow. Klingons off the starboard bow. Klingons off the starboard bow. Scrape them off, Jim. Section 31. Yes, I reversed that. You can understand where that comes from. 13, right? Pack-led bureaucrats. Who are the ones in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that like did the worst poetry in the universe? They're like that, you know? Everyone at the Star Trek panel I was on last week, regardless of beliefs, hated that Section 31 crap. Even they see what total crap it was. I'm glad I didn't see it so I don't have to unsee it. Yeah, it was supposed to be like a whole series, and then they just made it into a feature, and then they put it out on... And that's another thing, guys. That's another thing. We are in a semi-unprecedented era where you have a bunch of movie franchises that have a canon that now are relying on streaming shows that are behind a paywall that only a percentage of the fans see, and they're considering it canon. And we're going, I didn't see it. It's not canon for me. Who do you think's going to win that argument? Time will tell, but it's always, I don't even remember what you're talking about. I'll tell you what, if it hadn't been for the internet, the Star Wars Holiday Special would have been completely forgotten. If the High Council had listened to me, we could have defeated the Federation. Yeah. The Vorgons, right. The Vogons. I'm sorry, it's the Vogons. Right. Yeah, that's who's running our State Department. And the what do you call it? The Federal Police Force. Federation Police Force, excuse me. They are all extremely stupid if they recontract Alex dumbass Kurtzman. Yeah, well, they know that. They absolutely know that. If I were in charge of Trek, I'd ask for a bigger upfront or reasonable residual so my work, which I would hope was beloved, could be referenced as often as it should logically be referenced. Well, here's the problem with that, Lynn. There is a lot of threads of canon that are integral to Star Trek that simply by the laws of the industry, and I mean laws, legal, statutes, if you reference a character that someone created, some writer made up for a script, you have to pay a dividend to them. And Paramount has been, at least under Kurtzman, has been literally trying to cheat people out of what they're owed. They had a storyline in Kurtzman Trek about the Borg, and specifically about Hugh and the collective that broke off from the Borg and gained individuality. The writer of the of the episode that introduced that character didn't even know that they were using the characters. And so she had to sue just to get her money. It's absolutely ridiculous. So you're saying that underneath my harsh exterior, I just want to be loved? Toss them in the airlock. Yeah, exactly right. Rick and Morty Trek with animated orgies. Yeah, that's the other thing. There's a piece that who's that? I forget that European bloke who why is this a thing? I don't remember his name or if that's his channel name, but he was talking about the recent audio dramas of about Kanuni and Singh, and how the creator of that insists that they're canon, and it cost them so much money, so many thousands of dollars just for voice acting and orchestrations and sound effects and all that kind of stuff. And it's only made a couple grand. Nobody's interested. Nobody cares. Kurtzman needs to be sent to repente da. Yeah, exactly. Vorgons are the temporal agents of the 27th century on Risa. No, those are the Vorlons, aren't they? No, wait a minute. Oh, I get confused. Paul Neil Milne Johnstone created the worst poetry in the universe, but fortunately it was lost when the earth was destroyed. That's funny. I used that's like saying Alex Kurtzman created the worst Star Trek ever, but it was lost when earth was destroyed. I need a vacation on Risa. It's been years since I took a vacation. Every summer we have an event on Risa that you should be checking out. Just saying. Gearing up for a Q's Winter Wonderland real soon. That's why Robert Duncan McNeil was clearly playing Wesley's classmate on Voyager, but had a different name. Exactly right. I hate when they do that. They save pennies to lose dollars. They really do, because a lot of time, and it's the whole story of Picard. There was so much in that first and second season that they purposely avoided, and everyone's going, "Hey, what about this? What about that?" I'm sorry, this doesn't work with the canon that's already established. Well, we didn't want to mention that canon because we didn't want to pay people. So they started bringing it all in season 3, and people were like, this is much, much better. Nick Licardo. Yeah, exactly. Vorlons are from Babylon 5. See, I can't keep it straight. These names are all so close. Okay, give me 2 minutes. I'm going to throw out the last of the promos for the week, and then we're going to get to the drink. Be right back. Let me refill my brown mumbler, and we'll get on this.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, a traveling bushman who encounters modern civilization and its stranger aspects, including a clumsy scientist and a band of revolutionaries. A brush with modern innovation has hilarious and poignant repercussions in The Gods Must Be Crazy, this Saturday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Netter's Network.
In a world where nearly all the entertainment is remakes, reboots, and rehashes of older properties, maybe it's worth it to get some commentary from people who experienced it all when it was novel and fresh. Catch Boomer and Pacelli on Geeky Geezers every Sunday night at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
This week, on Last Call Presents The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, a gentleman is baffled when the childish drawings of little dancing men terrify his American wife. Sherlock Holmes soon discovers why. It's the dancing men. This week on Last Call Presents, Tuesday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Actually, Mark, I was just waiting for the where was it? You guys have been so busy that the chat has really jumped. Vorlons are from Babylon 5. Jerry Taylor insisted her Janeway novel is canon, but Paramount maintains that the novelizations of TMP with Roddenberry's name on it is not canon. Yeah. Real quick word on Star Trek canon, because I've been living and breathing this since the late 80s, in many clubs and online and so forth. It has been pretty standard that unless it appears on screen, now at the time on screen meant television or cinema, it was not canon. So in other words, novelizations of the movies, if they include details that aren't in the movie, they are not considered canon. It gets really strange when you start talking about DVD extras, deleted scenes, like Scotty's nephew. We all consider him now Scotty's nephew. The kid that is killed in Star Trek 2 that he brings to the bridge. Because the only reason that it's not established that he's the nephew is because of a couple of deleted scenes. But they have been restored in television edits of the movie, and it's a DVD extra, and the fans all know about it. So it becomes part of the fan zeitgeist, the fanon, if you will. So where that falls, we don't know. Comics were never canon. Books were never canon. Even the chronology and the encyclopedia, those are still not considered to be canon. Again, unless it actually is in the movies or whatever, because a lot of what's in those encyclopedias and chronologies is speculation. It's inferred by this, and that could change if something in canon refutes it. So you can't come back now and say, well, that audio book or, this comic book, it's all canon. No, it hasn't been, it's still not, and it's not going to be as soon as you decide to change it going forward. But now, like I said, the streaming service technically is on screen, but it's not being seen by a general audience. So is it really canon if not everyone has access to it? That would be like saying it's in the Bible, it's canon. Yeah, but I'm not legally allowed to obtain a copy of the Bible because the church has outlawed our possession of it. Well, sorry, it's in there. You just got to trust us on that. Yeah, no. They need to put we'll always have Paris with Star Trek going forward. Yeah, exactly. But friends come and go, but enemies tend to accumulate. Yeah, Lando Malari, exactly. And Big Al, he said this while the promo was going on. I was thinking this. I was just waiting for the promo to end. Don't forget the Vorvan from Buck Rogers, right? The space vampire. I love that episode. I really do. Vorvans, Vorgons, Vorlons. Oh my. Anyway, guys, I'm never going to get to the drink if I keep reading the chat, which I'll definitely come back to. I love what you all have to say. But let me real quick share my screen here, and we'll revisit the brown mumbler. So this one comes from Chicago Tribune. It gives a brief history, not a full history. I'll get a little bit more into it. But today's cocktail is the brown mumbler. I love the fact, too, that the Chicago Tribune has Fridays at 5. You know, that's, yeah, it's a kind of a local tradition around here, and that's what I'll get to in a minute. Today's cocktail is the brown mumbler, one of the debut drinks mixed by the gentleman behind the traveling Hornswoggle Arts Bar. Not unlike the Wisconsin Old Fashioned featured back in September, the brown mumbler allegedly originates in northern Wisconsin, whose natives must like their drinks sweet. Hornswoggler's version took the sweetness to the next level with the addition of Werther's original caramels. I don't use that. A tribute to the fact that the name conjured a mumbling old man who might enjoy the candies. Essentially, a Manhattan made with brandy or sweeter whiskey instead of rye or bourbon. The mumbler hasn't caught on so much in Chicago bars, though we did find one on the menu at Champagne's Boltini Lounge. Boltini manager Rob Tobias said he added it back in 2003 after a regular suggested it. I wonder who that could be. I didn't look it up, Tobias said, which is why it turned out more like a classic Manhattan. Booker's 127 proof bourbon, via sweet vermouth, a dash of bitters, and a brandied cherry. In Tobias's mind, the name speaks of his drink's strength. You drink one, you're fine. You drink two, you're mumbling. We limit people to 2 of them. The true Wisconsinian brown mumbler is a bit less refined. Below is one recipe suggested. This is the one I have listed in the description below. 3 ounces of Canadian Club whiskey or Christian Brothers brandy, 1 ounce sweet vermouth, a dash of 7-Up or soda, and 1 to 2 brandied cherries. In a rocks glass with ice, muddle the cherries, fill with whiskey and vermouth, add 7-Up, stir gently. Yes, that is a brown mumbler. I always have brandied cherries in my freezer. Why in my freezer? Because I like my drinks to be cold, so I want every element to be cold. The glass sits in the freezer. The whiskey stones sit in the freezer. The brandied cherries sit in the freezer. Of course, brandy does not freeze, but it's certainly ice cold. The vermouth I use, of course, is Cokie Americano. That's just me. Dash of 7-Up, if I have it on hand. I'm not big on 7-Up. Christian Brothers brandy. It's coming up on the holidays, so I probably need to restock and buy myself another bottle of Christian Brothers for the holidays. So this drink, the brown mumbler, is inherently tied to this channel. That's why it is one of the member emojis, the brown mumbler. The whole concept of Last Call started back in 2019. I was out of work, and one of the things that we used to do every Friday after work was we'd go to City Works for drinks and maybe some bar food, and just decompress from the week. And that was so in keeping with a tradition that went back almost a decade before that. I used to listen to WLS Talk Radio here in Chicago. The Roe Khan Show was the morning or the afternoon or evening drive home, and at 5:00 they had and I'll play this sometimes over on the Green Machine. I can't do it here. A little fanfare and Homer Simpson, to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Yay! And then there'd be a riff from one bourbon, one shot, and one beer. Several other sound bites from various episodes of The Simpsons. I can't take this much longer. I gotta have a beer. And then it would finish up with Dean Wormer. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. And then Jim Johnson, the weather guy on the channel, who was the co-host, would say, brutal week. What are you sipping on? And then you hear glug, 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 glug as drinks were being poured out. And they'd roll out the Canarble wagon. That's where the Canarble wagon comes from. And whenever they would ask Jim Johnson what he was sipping on, almost invariably it was a brown mumbler. And he would explain the brown mumbler because he was Wisconsinite, whatever. And he would explain the brown mumbler pretty much as it's described here, that recipe. And he would say that he had gotten it back in the newsroom from one of the old timers. They would always cut out on Fridays, midday, for a 3-hour, at least 3-drink liquid lunch. And then they would come back into the office just stewed to the gills. And at the end of one day, this one bloke in the newsroom was stewed to the ears, and he was slurring his words. And he said something like, it's Canarble time. And nobody knew what he was talking about, but we assumed from context he was talking about cocktails. So he would talk about rolling out the Canarble wagon. We assumed he meant the drink cart, and so that's where the Canarble wagon came from. And so every Friday on WLS, they would roll out the Canarble wagon. They would serve drinks and just, and the brown mumbler was Jim Johnson's drink of choice. And that was just the start of the weekend for me, every single week. So I decided I wanted to keep that tradition alive. I don't think they do that anymore on WLS. Jim Johnson has since passed away. The last time I talked about this, and you can find it in my Liquid Lunch playlist, I did a tribute to Jim Johnson and told this whole story in a bit more detail. But yeah, I felt that since, and there we go, Curtis Selby dropping the membership emojis, including the fedora, the brown mumbler, the logo, which is off camera right now, and the Canarble wagon. Exactly right. But yeah, I wanted to keep that alive, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna take it, and I don't do exclusive Green Machine shows that often. We do have one coming up because once a month I've made it my goal to do a karaoke stream. So we start out here and then we migrate over to there where I don't have to deal with the YouTube BS. And I will open up those shows with the To Alcohol fanfare from WLS because then I won't get hit for copyright strike on one bourbon, one shot, and one beer. But that, my friends, is what I am sipping on, and that's what I will be sipping on tonight as we talk about the post-mortem on the Kelvin timeline. Yeah, Erin Gray was so hot. She still is, really. She really is. She's aged beautifully. Let's see. Gakar had an interesting story arc. Rest in peace, Andreas Katsoulis. Andreas Katsoulis, who was also Tomalak, the Romulan in Star Trek: The Next Generation. In fact, playing Tomlock was his introduction to franchise sci-fi. His first, what would you call it? His first guest spot at a sci-fi convention was here in Chicago, and Netter and I were doing security for him, and he had no idea that he would just get mobbed by people. He's like, I'm shocked people even recognize me. And they're like, oh, you don't know these people. Please, you're free to go wherever you want, but take a security duty with you wherever you go. I think the current DVD edit includes the scene. Yeah, because now they start, and see, then they start doing these director's cuts and special editions and stuff, and it's like, so which is canon? Which is technically canon? And I think by default, people just go with, it's not incompatible with what came before. It just wasn't mentioned before. Now it is. Now we know he's the nephew, so it is what it is. The animated series is Schrodinger's canon. So here's the thing about the animated series, and this is why I'm good with it. Some of it being canonized and some of it not. Let's face it, it was written by some great sci-fi writers. And by animated series, I assume you mean the only animated series, which is the original series animated series. A lot of the same A.C. Crispin and many of the others that wrote for the TV show, they took advantage of the medium, the animation, to do things that they couldn't do. For example, there was one alien character that at first you don't realize this because he appears to be just simply humanoid, but at one point he's able to separate his head and his limbs and his body because he's not really just one entity, he's a colony, which it's kind of weird that he looks so much, I mean, like a torso somehow evolved and joined with heads and arms and stuff. That doesn't seem very likely, but it's very clever, and it's something they couldn't do in live action back then, but they could do it in animation. They also had one, not a shapeshifter. I think it wasn't actually a shapeshifter. I think it was actually doing an illusion. It cast an illusion so that he appeared human, but his actual form was a sentient plant, and it was mobile. It could get around on pseudopods. That's another thing that they couldn't really do except in animation. Nowadays, you could probably do some of that stuff, or you could do all of that stuff with CG, so you could do it live action, but back then you absolutely couldn't. And these stories were so good, albeit half hour instead of an hour-long format, that a lot of it was thought to be good canon. There was elements of... was it Spock's Yesteryear, was it called? Or something like that, where Spock travels back in time and encounters himself as a child or whatever. Well, over time, all of the stuff that you saw there about his pet Salat and a Lamacha and so forth, that whole story has become canonized. It's been referenced by so many things, they eventually said, yeah, that's canon. The actual story of Spock traveling back in time, maybe not. And I'm fine with that. Basically, it's Schrodinger's canon. It is and is not canon until it is specifically looked at on the big screen or in an actual episode. So yeah, I get that. Another thing, fanon, right? What fans believe to be canon that doesn't appear in anything canonical can become canon. We've seen that with the whole Klingon forehead ridge thing. It started out with a storyline from the role-playing game that I don't know if it started in the role-playing game or if it started in the Ford novels, but this whole idea of genetically engineered Klingons and this, that, and the other. The story was weak. It made very little sense, but they just accepted it. And come Enterprise, they took the basic idea and reworked it to make a whole lot more sense. So, in a way, that fanon became canon from a certain point of view. It kills me to see that what they have done to Star Trek. You know what? We should save all the Star Trek talk for tonight. We will definitely be getting back to all of this stuff. Berman and Braga, absolutely. Ooh, booze. Yeah. Have you ever had a brown Mumbler, Joe? Just curious. I've been given the impression it's mostly a Wisconsin drink, but hopefully we can get more people's eyes on it to give it a try. That's right, she did. She played Commodore Gray on Star Trek Continues. I loved that. And it was just a novel thing she decided to do. She, I think she mostly retired from acting and got involved in managing. You want to get a hold of an actor or an actress for a public appearance, or you want to cast them in a role or whatever. Her agency is one that you can go to get in touch with people. And every now and again, people will say, "Hey, we want to get you." I'm not really doing that now, but they took their shot, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it. Why not? Could be fun." I did Buck Rogers. Now I can say I did Star Trek from a certain point of view. I remember Andreas auction off his underwear at the Chicago convention, and he had a sense of humor. That was fun. Yeah, he absolutely did. A lot of them did. They back then they didn't take themselves too seriously. They really didn't. Except in TNG finale where they had on Romulan makeup with the strange foreheads of TNG Romulans, but was clearly playing G'Kar. Yeah. He was also the one-armed man in The Fugitive. That's right. That is absolutely right. And he's been in a lot of TV spots. He up until then. Well, I mean, I guess he always was a well-known character actor that you sometimes just didn't. Who is that guy? Who is that guy? Until he gets a recurring role. You know who else was like that was Bob O'Reilly, who played Gowron. He played villain. He played a villain in The Incredible Hulk. He was in all kinds of TV shows back in the 70s and 80s. And then they cast him as Gowron, and they just kept bringing him back and bringing him back and bringing him back. And he's just known to the fans as Gowron. Great guy in person, too. If I'm not mistaken, the first 3 episodes of the animated series of Star Trek were actually scripts for that. I don't know if it was specifically the first 3 episodes, but I know there was a number of them that they tapped into. But that was also true for Next Gen as well. Episodes of the first 2 seasons were originally scripts that were intended for the Phase 2 like reboot with the original cast. So you had the whole original crew, except for Leonard Nimoy wasn't coming back, so they brought in another Vulcan to be the science officer by the name of Zahn, who was, in his logic, saw that Spock's success in Starfleet was because he embraced a dual nature. So Zahn went out of his way to try to understand human emotions. Then, when you see the characters of the Next Generation, you see that the characters that they created for the Next Generation were specifically to be overlays to make use of those scripts. So you have Will Riker playing the role of Will Decker. You have Deanna Troi playing the role of Commander Ilea. You have Data playing the role of Zahn. See, and so forth. So that's how they were able to incorporate some of those scripts. The episode The Child, I think it was called The Child, where Deanna Troi has a child, immaculate conception, gives birth, he ages up, and then becomes an energy life form and leaves the ship, all in one episode. That was a story that was originally written as Commander Ilea's child. So, yeah. Canon says Vulcan has no moon. Yesteryear and the motion picture show a body in the sky. Novels explain this was a sister planet which came that close once every 7 years, which is incredibly interesting cosmology when you start thinking about it. Vulcan is a desert planet. What kind of seismic issues would a planet have that had a sister planet come that close on a regular basis? How would that impact their mythology, their culture, right? And it makes sense, too, if you think about it. When Spock says Vulcan has no moon, technically, if it's not a body that orbits around the Vulcan planet, it's not a moon, right? But it is entirely possible that there could be a sister planet. Can you imagine? And that does happen. We've seen it in other solar systems. Two planets that revolve around each other as they revolve around, their sun. They are satellites of each other, but you wouldn't call one a moon. It's an interesting concept. Yes, it was Commander Bem. That was the take apart, put together individual. Yeah, who wasn't an individual. He was multiple people. We will be picking up the Star Trek conversation later this evening, of course. As long as it's not done like Sci-Fi did Flash Gordon. Yeah, that was... I wanted to like that. I really, really did. Dropping by to wish everyone a happy Friday. Happy weekend to you, Horror Cat Dad. Good to see you. Anyway, let us wrap it up for today so that you can end your work day, get yourselves together, and we can reconvene for last call and continue the Star Trek discussion. But those of you that don't have to rush back to work, stick with me. We're going to head over to Wilkie's Movies and Musics. I should not have gone so late. Let's wrap this up. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Drink responsibly. See you later tonight. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.